From her perverse bedroom exploits to her chilling punishments, the pirate queen Ching Shih had one of the most dramatic lives in history. She was China's preeminent pirate queen who sailed the high seas in her own name. But even after all of that, she still saved her most jaw-dropping move for last. We don't know Ching Shih's exact birthday, but we do know that she entered the world in 1775 in Guangzhou, China. However, fair warning here, Ching Shih lived a long time ago, and one of the most important sources on her life comes from quite a biased viewpoint, a man she held hostage for 3 months. So maybe take the more wild stories about her with a silo of salt. As we'll see, this lady had a lot of enemies. As a street worker in China in the 1700s, she would have been seen as low class and judged for her profession. Begging the question, how did this girl go from a house of ill repute to the helm of a pirate fleet? Well, Ching had a little help from her friends, or maybe it would be better to say her friend with benefits. While hustling, Ching Shih met a strapping suitor named King Chen I, the famous bad boy pirate. He immediately fell for this girl and, according to some sources, went to disturbing lengths to get her for himself. In one story, he was so obsessed with Ching that he forced her to leave her day job by burning down the house where she worked. Extreme, but hey, it worked. Soon enough, the couple were sailing the high seas. Why did Cheng go so crazy for Ching Shih? Some say that the answer is exactly what you'd expect. Ching Shih was such a beauty that Cheng just had to marry her. Other sources, however, insist that Cheng had less superficial reasons. He rightly recognized Ching Shih's incredible cunning and just knew she'd be an amazing business partner. No matter the reason, Ching Shih and Chang I got hitched in 1801. After marrying Chang, the girl pirate's lifestyle was basically guaranteed. Her new husband came from a family of famous pirates, and over the years, he built up such an intense reputation for his naval conquests that he gave himself a royal moniker. He basically called himself King Chen, the best pirate ever, and people just let him because he was such a big deal. Ching Shih had no intention of being eye candy on her pirate husband's arm. When Ching first got married to her husband, who, by the way, had a pretty awesome nickname of the Golden Dragon of the Imperial Staff, she had some strict conditions her man would have to meet. Ching demanded an equal marriage, getting 50% control of her husband's stuff and becoming an active partner in Cheng's piracy. Over the span of just a few years, Ching Shih and Chang I assembled an enormous fleet of various pirate ships. They cleverly turned old rivals into teammates, uniting pirate gangs, including a bunch of Chang's far-flung relatives, into one juggernaut of a fleet. By 1804, the Red Flag Fleet, as it was called, was the biggest pirate fleet ever seen in China. In 1807, Ching Shih's husband, Chang I, died while he was in Vietnam. While Ching Shih may have wanted to grieve her loss, being a single woman on the high seas was a precarious position. Ching Shih stifled her feelings and got to work schmoozing with her in-laws. She managed to win over her husband's nephew and cousins. It was a clear sign to Ching Shih's enemies. Even though she'd lost her husband, she was far from alone. No matter how she solidified her power, we can all agree that Ching Shih proved herself to be an incredible pirate. With the Red Fleet under her control, Ching Shih immediately became a legendary leader. She launched her ships against coastal towns all across China, crushed any resistance, held people for ransom, demanded tributes, and defeated the Chinese government countless times. Instead of hiding from the authorities, Ching Shih sailed right up and met them. Not only did she valiantly forge ahead despite the dangerous situation, she actually beat her country's government. And that wasn't all. During her siege, she managed to take over 60 ships from her nemesis's fleet. On the one hand, it's important to admire Ching Shih's resolution and ambition. On the other hand, we have to recognize that she had quite a dark side. She also kidnapped multiple sailors, and when they trudged onto her ship, Ching presented them with a devastating choice. Option A, they could join her team and help Ching swashbuckle her way through the seas. Option B, they could get executed immediately. And this would not be a merciful end. Ching would tie her captives to the ship's floor and mercilessly club them until they perished. One of Ching Shih's major actions as pirate queen was the code of rules that she imposed on the pirates under her command. Among other things, pirates couldn't disobey orders, they couldn't steal from their own allies, and if they took captives as their wives, they couldn't abuse them or cheat on their new wives. If they dared to defy Ching Shih's orders, well, there was hell to pay. Ching Shih was serious about treating women well. If her men dared to harm their new wives or injure the ship's hostages, Ching would treat them to a taste of their own medicine. She would punish her misbehaving pirates with floggings, corporal punishment, and in extreme cases, she'd even execute her own men. For her own sailors, her preferred method wasn't walking the plank or beating them to oblivion. She'd just straight up behead them. Yikes. Ching Shih wasn't just a bad girl in her professional life, her personal life was absolutely wild too. After King Chen passed, Ching Shih took a new lover, and to say he was an inappropriate suitor would be an extreme understatement. Ching's new man, Chiang Po, had been her second in command for years, but their employer-employee power difference was far from the diciest part of their romance. In one version, Ching Shih and her husband Cheng I stole Chiang Po when he was a child. After they abducted him, they raised him as their own son. Now, this is definitely better than being mean to the poor kid, but on the other hand, it obviously makes Ching Shih's later relationship with Chiang Po highly questionable, and that's putting it lightly. After years of working together as pirate lovers, they wanted to make their relationship official. They planned to tie the knot, only to learn that they couldn't. Surprise, surprise, their dicey history had come back to haunt them. You see, Ching Shih was still recognized as Chiang Po's mother in the eyes of Chinese law. When she later took an offer of amnesty, Ching Shih requested that this mother-son status be removed so that she could legally marry Chiang Po. The provincial governor effectively said something like, "Oh, that's weird, but sure, let's undo that so you crazy kids can get hitched." With that settled, the marriage went forward. Despite their rocky romantic start, Ching Shih and Chiang Po seemed to be a very happy couple. They were married for more than 10 years and even welcomed 2 children, a son and a daughter. Their working relationship also continued to succeed. Chiang Po regularly took over as captain when Ching needed some me time and always supported his wife's ambitions. But some sources say the marriage was less star-crossed lovers and more business arrangement. Some people think that Ching Shih got together with Chiang Po for a darker reason. She knew she had the upper hand in the relationship. Chiang Po had grown up thinking as Ching as his superior, so he'd be easy to control. Plus, he was illiterate and allegedly simple-minded. So, was it a marriage of the minds or a savvy business arrangement? The answer may lie in an important moment when Chiang Po's deficient intelligence royally screws up Ching Shih's plans. But more on that later. 1809 and 1810 were very busy years for Ching Shih. With all her pillaging and raiding, she'd become a huge thorn in the side of the Chinese authorities, and they were desperate to put her away. They even partnered with the British in an effort to take down Ching Shih. But guess what? Ching Shih proved her mettle against the British when she successfully captured 7 British sailors and 1 official from the East India Company in 1809. We can only imagine how big a smirk she had when it came time to ransom those hostages. Even the combined forces of China and Britain couldn't catch her, but Ching Shih's time in the sun wouldn't last forever. Ching Shih's illustrious career as a pirate queen hit a snag at the Battle of the Tiger's Mouth. On January 4th, 1810, Ching Shih was in a desperate situation. She had come out swinging so many times before, but today, the Portuguese small ships managed to sneak up to her vessels and bombard them with cannons. Ching's ships fell back to the Hiangsan River, leading the Portuguese captain to block the river mouth and prevent Ching's fleet from leaving. The great pirate queen was officially trapped. At this point, Ching Shih knew that for the very first time in her decades at sea, she had officially lost. After getting stuck in the river for 2 long weeks, some sources even say 3, even China's most fierce pirate simply couldn't figure out a way to escape the situation. And so, with her head held high, Ching Shih finally surrendered to the Portuguese. This ignoble end to her seafaring career made everyone's jaws drop, but there were even more surprises in store. The Qing dynasty said that if Ching Shih's pirate fleet surrendered their weapons, the entire group, which at this point included thousands of pirates, would receive pardons. But somehow Qing managed to make the Chinese authorities agree to a stunning condition. She'd only call time on her tenure as a pirate queen if she got to keep all the wealth that she'd accumulated over the years. What a deal! Justice for Ching Shih. There's a little detail about the fight with the Portuguese that far too many people ignore. You see, during this decisive battle, Ching Shih had actually trusted her command to her trusty co-captain, her lover/adopted son, Cheng Po. His lesser intelligence might have contributed to this failure. The loss became a source of contention in their relationship. But just wait, this odd couple had a far bigger complication in their near future. Despite Cheng Po's enormous failure, Ching Shih stood by him. The couple remained married until 1822, when tragedy struck. That year, Cheng Po tragically perished at sea. At the time of his demise, he was just 39 years old. This meant that Ching Shih was now a widow 2 times over, and that she'd have to navigate the harsh world all on her own. After all this drama, you'd expect Ching Shih's wild life to basically be over. But as always, this girl lived to defy expectations. Ching realized that being a widow and lying on a pile of money gets boring after a while. Soon enough, she returned to her illicit ways. In her retirement, Ching Shih opened up a gambling house. Oh, and she also traded opium on the down low. After years of taking on the Chinese government, the East India Trading Company, and the Portuguese Navy, it might have baffled some people to think that Ching Shih passed peacefully. But that's exactly what she did. In 1844, when Ching Shih was an impressive 69 years old, she breathed her last. Despite her wild life, her passing was very calm. Her family surrounded her when she perished. Those of you familiar with the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise may vaguely recall a minor Chinese woman who was one of the great pirate lords present in Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Identified as Mistress Cheng, this character was a reference to Ching Shih herself. While Ching Shih is the most famous Asian woman pirate, much of her life is still murky. In fact, we don't even know Ching Shih's true name. The moniker Ching Shih simply means that she was the widow of King Chen, her first husband. Despite her nickname as the terror of South China, it's difficult not to praise Ching Shih's accomplishments. Based on the huge number of pirates that Ching Shih commanded in her heyday, and the fact that she managed to retire and live peacefully after her pirate career, it's been accepted by many historians that Ching Shih was the most successful pirate in human history. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see others like it, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button below and leave a like and comment on the video. Thanks for watching.